if you think opening ChatGPT and asking it to do something for you is using AI, that's a perfect example of how you're using just 1% of the real potential. I use 5 prompting steps to automate almost my entire workload with no coding, and it changed everything. So in this video, I'm going to give you all 5 steps so that you can start using them today. And later in this video, Lauren will show you multiple examples of each so that you can implement them. You know that saying, a bad workman blames his tools? Well, the same thing goes with AI. If you throw in vague instructions and you get a disappointing output and then you blame the machine, then say AI isn't for me, that's because you're not understanding how to think about using AI. So I'm going to give you the real because AI has created so much freedom for me in my coaching and consulting business. I want the same for you. There is one way to improve the output that you get. And the way to do that is improve your input. So that means improve the prompt plus the data that you give the prompt. And the way that you get into an AI ownership mindset is you become an AI SICKO. SICKO stands for structure, iteration, clarity, and ownership. So the first step to being an AI SICKO, structure. You're gonna format your prompt clearly with labels, not a messy paragraph. Iteration is where you don't expect the first output to be perfect. You need to know how to interact with the AI and iterate it until the output meets your demands. Clarity is where you're not going to make assumptions that the AI knows what you're trying to do. Instead, you're going to tell it exactly the job that is to be done, and you're going to get as detailed as possible. And O for ownership is that you are responsible for the inputs. All right, if you're going to commit to being an AI SICKO, give me a SICKO down below. Because until you take on the AI SICKO mindset, you're always going to think AI is not good enough yet, and you'll never build the skill that actually multiplies your work. Whereas if you do become an AI SICKO and take ownership, every bad output becomes a data point, and you learn what to add or what to remove, and your prompts improve over time. So I'm going to go over multiple templates here for AI prompts, and as we do that, just remember, if you get a bad output, it means improve the input and update the prompt. It does not mean give up on AI. So now you know you need to have an ownership mindset. I can now hand you part 2, which is the 4 core prompt templates. Now, I've been obsessing with ChatGPT since the 30th of November 2022 when it first came out, and I've identified that there are 4 core prompt types that you will use in almost any situation. There's the simple prompt, there's the general universal prompt, there's the expanded prompt, and there's the ultimate expanded prompt. So I want you to think about these 4 as levels of precision. So the bigger the stakes, the more structured the prompt. So let's go through each one of the 4. So we'll start with the simple prompt. You're going to use the simple prompt when the task is short, fast, and low risk. Things like write 5 email subject lines or summarize a short paragraph. The goal with this prompt is speed and convenience, not perfection. And the template is very simple. So the rule, you are persona, task, clear goal, format, how you want it presented. So here's an example. You are a helpful marketing expert. Generate 5 email subject lines for a product launch of a new coaching program that helps executives overcome burnout. Return them as a numbered list, each under 10 words. That alone will beat 90% of vague right subject line prompts. But let's get into the general universal prompt. Now, this is good for most daily tasks. You use this prompt when you know the goal and you've got some context, but it's not super high stakes. This prompt is better for data analysis. So here are some examples of how you'd use it. You'd get it to analyze a report and give you recommendations. You would have it organize messy notes into clear bullets, or improve a piece of sales copy for clarity. So the structure of general universal prompts looks like this: role, context, task, examples, format, constraints. So here is how a filled out version could look like. Role, senior copywriter specializing in clear, conversion focused sales copy. Context, landing page for $997 business coaching program. Target, online coaches making $5,000 to $15,000 a month who want to scale. Task, review my headline and opening paragraph. Rewrite for clarity and impact. For examples, bad, transform your business with our proven system. Good, add $10,000 a month in 90 days using our client acquisition framework. Format, show original copy, then your improved version with 2 to 3 bullet points explaining changes. Constraints, no jargon. Focus on specific outcomes, not vague promises. The next is the expanded prompt, and this is where we do complex or strategic work. Things like building a go-to-market plan, redesigning a process with pros and cons, or doing research with analysis and structure. Here, the goal is higher accuracy and depth, so the structure adds more layers. So the structure is role, context, task, subtasks or chain of thoughts, examples, format, constraints. So here's an example. The role is you're a seasoned data analyst. Within the context, you provide background and data or constraints. So for example, based on this sales report from Q3 2025, you then insert the data. The task is where you clearly state the goal of the action. For example, analyze the trends and recommend 3 improvements. Within the examples, you could show examples of what you're going for or within data that you want to pull from. And within the format, this is where you specify the output style. For example, you ask it to respond in a bulleted list with headings for each recommendation. And then within constraints, you add limits. For example, keep the response under 300 words, use a professional tone, or cite resources if applicable. So this is now a serious brief. It's perfect for situations where the first draft needs to be strong. And then we have the ultimate expanded prompt. This is for anything that is high stakes, repeated often, used by teams, or automated in workflows or client facing. So it's things like sales scripts or SDR outreach templates or automated content generation, standardized client reports. Like here you want maximum precision and repeatable results. So the structure, role, context, task, subcontext, examples, output format, additional notes, and user input. For example, let's just say you have a consulting report that you need to hand to a client. The role would be you are a strategic business consultant with MBA credentials. The context, okay, this would be that the company is a fintech startup with $2 million of funding and the competitors include Stripe. The task would be, for example, we're going to be developing a go-to-market strategy for the client. And then in the subtask, you break it down into step 1, for example, identify target audience. Step 2, analyze risks. Like think aloud for each and you'll get clear on what all the steps are. And then for the examples, let's just say for an e-commerce strategies, you would say focus on SEO, the pros are low cost, and so on and so forth. And then for the format, you would tell it exactly how you want it formatted. So do you want sections with headings, a pros and cons table, and an executive summary, right? And then in constraints, you would again give it constraints, so tell it what the constraints are. And then with quality control, you get it to ensure recommendations are feasible, you cite data sources, and so on and so forth. And then with the iteration prompt, you say, if unclear, ask for clarification. And once you build an ultimate expanded prompt like this, you can reuse it as a tool across your business. But now you have those 4 different prompts. How do you choose between them in real time, right? Use this simple rule. If you expect to talk to the AI again, use a simple or general prompt, because this way you can course correct and adjust the outputs by having a follow-up conversation with the AI. If the outputs must be right on the first try, or you don't want to spend tons of time going back and forth, and you really need to get the output correct because it's going to a client or it's an important project that you're doing, use the expanded or ultimate expanded prompt. So those latter 2 are going to be particularly useful for automation workflows and building AI agents. By the way, let me know in the comments if you want me to cover AI agents and automations in depth in future videos. And if you're not sure what to put in each field, this is where the meta prompts come in. So the meta prompt is basically a prompt that helps you build a better prompt. I know, it's crazy, right? So you tell the AI your goal and give it the empty template, and then you have an interaction with your AI, letting it ask you specific questions so that you can fill each part. For example, you might say, I am trying to analyze sales data for trends in my industry. I need help completing the following prompt template. And then you input the prompt template, you fill out the bits of it that you can, and then you leave it blank where you don't know how to fill it out. And after you've pasted the prompt template, you say, ask me a series of targeted questions one at a time to gather the details needed to fill in each component of the prompt template. And once we have all the info, propose the completed prompt and verify with me if it's accurate before we run it. And then the AI interviews you, you answer in plain language, and at the end it shows you a completed clean prompt that you can reuse. So if you ever feel stuck, you don't need to guess and just start saying, why are you not getting this right? No, you let the AI co-author the perfect prompt with you. And that brings me on to conversational versus single shot prompting. Now, if you mix these 2 up, you either move too slowly or you ship unreliable work. So conversational prompting is when you go back and forth like you would with a human counterpart. So you use this for brainstorming, exploring ideas, research, early drafts. It's a human operated, flexible, and it's forgiving. The output improves through iteration, whereas single shot prompting is when the output must be correct on the first try. So there's no chance to fix this later because it's automated or it goes straight to clients or team members. So you use single shot prompting when the result is going to be sent to clients, or if it's part of a business process, it's used by team members as scripts or a procedure, or it's inside an automation and you need reliability, right? Because if it's inside an automation, you're not chatting with it, it just does it by itself. So here you always need to use expanded or ultimate expanded prompts. So the rule is simple. If you're going to keep chatting with the AI, conversational prompting is fine. But if the result needs to be correct immediately, move to a structured single shot prompt. But even with great prompts, you never accept outputs blindly. You need to apply quality control. So there are 2 checklists here. First is a quick checklist for everyday use, and second is an extended one for high stakes. So the quick checklist asks, does it answer the task correctly? Is the information clear and structured? Is anything missing or unclear? Is the tone correct? Are the next steps obvious? And the extended checklist asks all of those, but it also adds, are facts verified against your data? Are there no hallucinated claims? Are numbers and timelines correct? Are formats matching what you asked for? Is the brand voice consistent? Is grammar, clarity, and brevity included? Is there compliance, ethics, financial claims? Are there no assumed stated as facts? Are sources cited if needed? Is it safe to automate or send? But here's the key point. If something fails the checklist, you don't manually fix everything. You refine your prompt. So you might add, verify all facts using only the data provided, or begin with a 3-bullet executive summary, or use a professional tone for executives and keep paragraphs under 3 sentences. So this is where enhancer libraries come in. Enhancer libraries are copy and paste lines that you add inside your existing templates to upgrade them. So for example, in the specifics and constraints field, you might add, write at a 7th grade reading level. You might tell it to remove unnecessary words and repetition, or to keep paragraphs under 3 sentences. And once you know these enhancers, you can take a mediocre prompt, like give me ideas to improve lead generation, and turn it into a sharp, business-ready brief. For example, you're a strategic growth consultant for a B2B service company. Provide a ranked list of 3 lead generation priorities with measurable success criteria. Base conclusions only on the data provided and add cost versus impact reasoning and risks. Start with an executive summary, then for sections for diagnosis, recommendations, impact, and next steps. Include a simple comparison table and end with a KPI checklist. Same goal, complete different level of output. So now you know exactly how to prompt and all of the different levels of prompting that you probably didn't know about before. Like this video and subscribe if you haven't already, and watch this video next where I break down exactly how to make AI sound exactly like you so that it can create viral content like I'm getting every single week on Instagram, LinkedIn, and Facebook. Click that video now and I'll see you there.